Hello everyone, myself Gokulamani from the Department of Mathematics. Today I am going to explain on the topic correlation analysis. Correlation is the important technique in statistics to investigate how the quantitative variables are related. The application of correlation has been very wide and diverse in different fields such as natural science, economics, psychology, and of course in research of all kinds. In this video, we are going to see what is a correlation, how to draw scatter diagram, different types of correlation, called Pearson's coefficient of correlation, how to calculate correlation coefficient for a bivariate frequency table. First, we can see what is a correlation. Assume you are doing a business. You are selling few products in a market. What will be your objective? Your objective will be of attaining a good profit, correct? Attaining a good profit is depending on amount of sales, demand for the product, availability of stock, customer satisfaction, and many more. If there is no demand for a particular product, its sales will decrease. If the amount of sales decreased, automatically profit will decrease. That means profit is depending on the sales and the sales is depending on the demand. So in order to find how these variables are related, we need correlation. Correlation is used to test relationship between quantitative variables or categorical variables. In other words, it is a measure of how things are related. It is expressed in the form of number that is known as correlation coefficient. The study of how variables are correlated is called correlation analysis. Next, we see few examples of data that have a high correlation. Your caloric intake and your weight. We know that our weight increment and decrement is depending on our caloric intake. So they have high correlation. Similarly, your eye color and your relatives' eye colors, the amount of time you study and your GPA. These data are strongly related, so they have high correlation. Next, we see some examples of data that have a low correlation. Your sexual preference and the type of cereal you eat, a dog's name and the type of dog biscuit they prefer, the cost of a car wash and how long it takes to buy a soda inside the station. We look at these data. These data are not related strongly. So there is no correlation between them or they have low correlation. Next we can see what is a positive correlation and few examples for this. It is a relationship between two variables where if one variable increases, the other also increases. A positive correlation also exists if one decreases and the other also decreases. For example, the less time I spend marketing my business, the fewer new customers I will have. The more money she saves, the more financially secure she feels. As the number of trees cut down increases, the probability of erosion increases. When enrollment at college decreases, the number of teachers decreases. As a student's study time increases, so does his test average. Look at these data. In these data, if one is increasing, automatically the next one is also increasing. If one is decreasing, the next one is also decreasing. So there is a positive correlation between them. The next one is negative correlation and its examples. A negative correlation means that there is an inverse relationship between two variables. When one variable decreases, the other increases. The vice versa is a negative correlation too, in which one variable increases and the other decreases. For example, a student who has many absence has a decrease in grades. That is, increment in the absence leads to decrement in grades. Similarly, as weather gets colder, air conditioning cost decreases. If a train increases speed, the length of the time to get the final point decreases. If a car decreases speed, travel time to the destination increases. The more one works, the less free time one has. In all these data, increment in one variable leads to the decrement in the other variable. So all these data are negatively correlated. The next one is the scatter diagram. It is a tool for analyzing relationship between two variables for determining how closely the two variables are related. One variable is plotted on the horizontal axis and the other is plotted on the vertical axis. The pattern of their intersecting points can graphically show relationship patterns. For example, we are having x and y data and pair of values for x and y. We have to plot each pair of x and y in this graph. For example, x value 25, y value 30. We have to plot the point 25, 30 in the graph. After plotting all the pairs of values of x and y, we can analyze how these data are related to each other. Called Pearson's coefficient of correlation. It is one of the methods to find the correlation coefficient. As a measure of intensity or degree of linear relationship between two variables, Carl Pearson, a British biometrician, developed a formula called correlation coefficient. Correlation coefficient between two random variables x and y, usually denoted by r of x, y, is a numerical measure of linear relationship between them, and it is defined as r of x, y is equal to covariance of x, y divided by sigma x into sigma y, where covariance of x, y is equal to expectation of x minus e of x into y minus e of y, which is also called as mu11. For this reason, we can also call the Pearson coefficient of correlation as product moment correlation. Now you write the formula for expectation of x minus e of x into y minus e of y, which is equal to 1 by n into summation xi minus x bar into ya minus y bar. Now we expand summation xi minus x bar and ya minus y bar and simplify the answer. So you will get 1 by n into summation xi minus ya minus x bar into y bar for covariance of x, y. And these sigma x square and sigma y square are the standard formula for finding the variance of the variable x and y. I said that correlation coefficient is a numerical value. Every numerical value has a certain limit. Now we are going to find the limits of correlation coefficient. R of x, y is equal to covariance of x, y divided by sigma x into sigma y. This is the formula for finding the correlation coefficient. Now you write the formula for covariance of x, y and sigma x by sigma y. After expanding the covariance and sigma x into sigma y, consider xi minus x bar as ai and ya minus y bar as bi. Then you square on both sides. So you will get r square of x, y is equal to summation ai into bi the whole square divided by summation ai square into summation bi square. The Schwarz inequality says that summation I is equal to 1 to n ai into bi the whole square is less than or equal to summation I is equal to 1 to n ai square into summation I is equal to 1 to n bi square for any set of real quantities a1 to an and b1 to bn. Now you bring this right hand side to the left side. So summation ai bi the whole square divided by summation ai square into summation bi square is less than or equal to 1. Now you substitute this in the formula of r square of x, y. So r square of x, y is less than or equal to 1. So the absolute value of r of x, y is less than or equal to 1. That means r of x, y lies in between -1 and +1. Hence the correlation coefficient cannot exceed unity numerically. It always lies between -1 and +1. Based upon the R values, we can classify the correlation. For R is equal to -1, perfect negative correlation. If R lies between -1 and -0.5, then it's high negative correlation. If R lies between -0.5 and 0, then there is a low negative correlation. If R is equal to 0, then there is no correlation between the given data. If R belongs to 0, 0.5 set, it is a low positive correlation. If R lies between 0.5 and 1, then that is a high positive correlation. If R is exactly 1, then it is called perfect positive correlation. These are the scatter diagrams to show the classifications of correlation. In the first diagram, all the plotted points lie on the straight line. And this is the line of x is equal to y. So this line x is equal to y implies that whenever x is increasing, y is increasing simultaneously. Similarly, whenever x is decreasing, y is decreasing simultaneously. So it is called perfect positive correlation. Here r is equal to +1. In the second diagram, here also all the points lie on the straight line, but this line representing x plus y is equal to 0. So in this line, whenever x is increasing, y is decreasing. Whenever x is decreasing, y is increasing. So it is called a perfect negative correlation. In the third diagram, not all the points lie on the straight line, but the points are very nearer to the straight line, and this line represents x is equal to y. So high degree positive correlation. In the fourth diagram, here also not all the points lie on the straight line, which are very nearer to the straight line, and this straight line represents x plus y is equal to 0. So we can call this as high degree of negative correlation. Here the value of r is very high. negatively high. In the fifth diagram, few points are near the line and few points are far away from the line. But the line represented here is x is equal to y. So it is called low degree of positive correlation. Here R values lies between 0 and 0.5. In the sixth diagram, it is similar to the fifth one, but the line representing here is x plus y is equal to 0. It is called as low degree negative correlation. Here R value lies between 0 minus 0.5 to 0. And in the last diagram, all the points are scattered, and it is not possible to fit a straight line x is equal to y or x plus y is equal to 0. So there is no correlation. Here R value is equal to 0. Next, we are going to see few properties of correlation coefficient as theorems. The first one, correlation coefficient is independent of change of origin and scale. If we are changing the origin and the scale, it will not affect the correlation coefficient. This is what the theorem. So you consider two variables x and y and change the scale and origin here. Now we are changing the origin 0, 0 to a, b and changing the scale by the constant h and k. Now the new variables will arrive. This u is equal to x minus a by h and v is equal to y minus b by k. So from that we can write x is equal to a plus hu and y is equal to b plus kv. Here a, b, h, k are all constant and h and k are more than 0. Our aim is to prove that this change of origin and scale will not affect the coefficient of correlation. That means the correlation coefficient between x and y is equal to the correlation coefficient between u and v. So we are claiming that r of x comma y is equal to r of u comma v. Now you take expectation on both sides. X is equal to a plus hu and y is equal to b plus kv. After taking expectation, we will get e of x is equal to a plus h into e of u, e of y is equal to b plus k into e of v. Because we know that expectation of any constant is equal to the same constant a, and the expectation of a into x is equal to a into expectation of x. So by that property, we will get this result. Now you subtract x minus e of x and y minus e of y. We will get these results. Now apply these results in the covariance of x comma y formula. So here h and k are constants, you can take outside. So h into k into expectation of u minus e of u into v minus e of v, and this is the formula for covariance of u comma v. So covariance of x comma y is equal to h into k into covariance of u comma v. And we know the property for the variance, that variance of a into x is equal to a square into variance of x. So by that property, we can write sigma x square is equal to h square into sigma u square and sigma y square is equal to k square into sigma v square. Now apply these things in the formula of r of x comma y. So we will get covariance of x comma y divided by sigma x into sigma y as h into k into covariance of u comma v divided by h into k into sigma u into sigma v. So this h into k and this h into k will get cancelled. So we are obtaining the result r of x comma y is equal to r of u comma v. That is, the change of scale and the origin doesn't affect the correlation coefficient value between x and y and u and v. The next property is two independent variables are uncorrelated. That means if the variables x and y are independent, then their correlation coefficient r is equal to 0. So assume that x and y are independent variables and our aim is to prove r of x comma y is equal to 0. We already know that whenever the two variables are independent, their covariance is 0. So covariance of x comma y is equal to 0 implies that r of x comma y is equal to 0 because the numerator is covariance of x comma y. So whenever the numerator is 0, we will get the answer 0 for r of x comma y. So this implies that whenever two variables are independent, surely they are uncorrelated. But the converse is not true. So look at this example. X is equal to minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, 1, 2, 3. Y is equal to 9, 4, 1, 1, 4, 9. It obviously says that y is equal to x square. So y is depending on x. But if we are applying the formula of r of x comma y here, you surely will get the answer 0 for r of x comma y. So these x and y are uncorrelated, but actually they are depending. So what's the problem here? Here the problem is y is not linearly depending. Y is non-linearly depending on x. So the main assumption to be satisfied for applying the Cole-Pearson's correlation coefficient is the data should be linearly independent. Next, we can see one example for calculating the Cole-Pearson's coefficient of correlation. Calculate correlation coefficient for the following data. Here two data are given, x and y. The x data is 65, 66, 67, 67, 68, 69, 70 and 72, and the respective y value is also given. So from these x and y, we have to form a table consisting of the column x, y, the given data, and x square, y square, x into y. We need to calculate these things. So after calculating these 5 columns, you find the summation for all these 5 columns. Then calculate x bar and y bar, which is mean values of the data x and y, using the formula 1 by n into summation x, 1 by n into summation y. After calculating the mean of x and y, substitute the values of summation x, summation y, summation x into y, summation x square and summation y square in the formula of r of x comma y. Here r of x comma y is equal to 1 by n into summation xy minus x bar into y bar divided by square root of 1 by n into summation x square minus x bar the whole square into 1 by n into summation y square minus y bar the whole square. Substitute the respective values and simplify, you will get the result 0.603. Now you see the value r is equal to 0.603. So it lies between plus 0.5 and 1. So we can say it has a high degree positive correlation. Next we will see one example for the case of continuous random variable. Let the random variable x have the marginal density function f1 of x is equal to 1 for x value lies between minus 1 by 2 and 1 by 2, and let the conditional density function of y be f of y given x is equal to 1 for the y value in between x and x plus 1 and x value in between minus 1 by 2 and 0, and 1 for y value in between minus x and 1 minus x and x value between 0 and 1 by 2. And we have to show that the variables x and y are uncorrelated. That means we have to prove that r is equal to 0 here. So here f y given x implies that y is depending on x. That means the occurrence of y is depending on the occurrence of x. So we are writing the marginal density function and the conditional density function here. When x is a discrete random variable, the formula for calculating expectation of x is equal to summation x into p of x. When x is a continuous random variable, then the formula is integral x into f of x into dx. Here both x and y are continuous random variables, so we are applying the formula which involves integration. So here expectation of x is equal to integration x into f1 of x into dx. Here this minus 1 by 2 plus 1 by 2 is the given limit in the question. So apply the same limit. After the simplification, since f1 of x is defined as 1 in the question, it is x into 1. Integration of x gives x squared by 2. Substitute the lower limit and upper limit. You will get the answer 0. Here f1 of x is the marginal density function and f of y given x is the conditional density function. Multiplying these two things will give you the joint density function. So the joint density function is f of y given x because f1 of x is equal to 1 throughout the limit. So now you find the expectation of x into y. It is double integration x into y into f of x comma y into dx into dy. So in the question, the limits of x and y are given as two set of limits. So we are splitting the integration into two and substitute the respective limits here. After simplification, you will get these results. That is, expectation of x into y is equal to 0. Substitute it in the formula. Covariance of x comma y is equal to e of x into y minus e of x into e of y. We already know that e of x is equal to 0 from the previous slide, and e of x into y is equal to 0, which is given here. So we will get r of x comma y is equal to 0. That implies that for the given question, for the given variables x and y, there is no correlation between them. Next, we can see correlation coefficient for bivariate frequency distribution. When the data are considerably large, they may be summarized by using a two-way table. For example, you are collecting 1000 sets of x and y variable. Is it possible to calculate the Cole-Pearson's correlation coefficient using the previous method? Yes, it is possible, but it takes time. To avoid that, we can summarize the given data using a two-way table. For that, we have to consider suitable number of classes for both the variables x and y. For example, if x value lies from 0 to 100, we can classify into 0 to 10 class, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, etc. up to 90 to 100. Similarly, we can also classify the y variables and we can form the two-way table. After classifying the class intervals for x and y, by going through the pairs of values of x and y, we can find the frequency for each cell. For example, there are four set of values which lies between the interval x is equal to 0 to 10 and for the interval y from 10 to 20. Then we have to write the entry 4 in the cell which represents the class interval of x as 0 to 10 and the class interval of y as 10 to 20. So if we are classifying the class intervals of x as m, that is m class intervals for x and n class intervals for n, then there must be m cross n cells. In each cell, we have to write the frequency. Then the whole set of cell frequencies will then define a bivariate frequency distribution. The column totals and the row totals will give us the marginal distributions of x and y. A particular column or row will be called the conditional distributions of y for given x and of x for given y respectively. And this is the one problem for bivariate frequency table. The following table gives, according to the age, the frequency of marks obtained by 100 students in an intelligent test. Calculate the correlation coefficient. So here these entries, now see the class intervals, marks 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, etc. And the age in years 18, 19, 20, 21. This number 4 represents that there are 4 students in the age of 18 who obtain 10 to 20 marks. Similarly, if we are taking this value 10, this represents that there are 10 students in the age of 20 and who secured 30 to 40 marks. And if we are considering these marks as the variable x and age in y years as y, then this total 8, 19, etc. are representing the marginal density function of x and this total representing the marginal density function of y. And this 100 is the overall total. This is the correlation table. We know that when we are changing the origin and the scale, it will not affect the correlation coefficient value. So we can change the x and y variable into u and v new variable by changing the scale and origin for our convenience. Here the x values, the class intervals 10 to 20, 20 to 30. First we have to find the mid value of these intervals. So it is 15, 25, 35, 45, 55 and 65. Each has the interval 10, 10. We can obtain the value v by formula x minus 35 divided by 10. So 15 minus 35 divided by 10 will give you minus 2. 25 minus 35 divided by 10 will give you minus 1. Similarly, we get 0, 1, 2 and 3 for the v values. So in the case of u, we are changing the origin alone. So here the formula is u is equal to y minus 19. So it is 18 minus 19 is minus 1, 19 minus 19 is 0, 20 minus 19 is 1, 21 minus 19 is equal to 2. So we have changed the variable x and y to the variables u and v. After then we have to calculate the circled values. These circle values are obtained by multiplying the cell entry with its respective u and v value. Here the cell entry is 4. The respective u and v values are -2 and -1. So we are multiplying 4 with -2 and -1. So we obtain the value 8. Similarly, the next entry is 2 into -2 into 0, it is 0. Like this, we can calculate all the circled values. After calculating this, we can find the remaining data. The first data is f of v in v here. F of v is given in the question itself. After then, we have to calculate v into f of v. The respective v value is -2. So you multiply this -2 with 8, you will get -16. And the next column is v square into f of v. So here in this row, v is equal to -2. So -2 the whole square into f of v will give you 32. Similarly, you calculate the remaining things. In the row wise also, so in the column wise also the same thing. That is u into f of u and u square into f of u. After then we have to calculate the last row and the last column. It is summation of uv into f of u comma v. For this we need to calculate the circled values. So here this 4 is obtained by adding the circled values 8, 0 and -4. Similarly, this -9 will be obtained by adding these circled values. After calculating these, adding the values of circled values in the row and column, we find the row total and the column total. It should be same. So here it is 52, here is also 52. So we have completed the correlation table. And we can apply these values in the formula to calculate the correlation coefficient. From the previous correlation table, you take the required data. We can take summation u into f of u, summation v into g of v to calculate the mean value of u and v. After then, we can substitute in covariance of u comma v, and that gives the answer 0.35. Next, you find the answer for variance of u and v by the standard formula. After then, you apply these things in R of u comma v formula. Finally, after simplification, we are getting the answer 0.25. This 0.25 is a value in between 0 and 0.5. So the given set of values x and y are having low degree positive correlation. Through this video, we have learned what is a correlation, limitations of correlation coefficient, learned different classifications of correlation, and we have also learned scatter diagrams and its uses, finding Cauchy-Pearson's correlation coefficient, and how to calculate the correlation coefficient for a bivariate frequency table. Thank you for watching this video.